thought about opening this review and trying to do my best Silent Bob impression, but then I thought staring at the camera would be an awkward way to just start a review, especially when I don't know if I'm staring actually at the camera or what you guys are able to see. So, hi, I'm Mac the Movie Guy from MacTheMovieGuy.com, and this is your glorious review of Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. I'm a blind film critic, so that actually explains why I chose this movie today. In case you think it's random that I'm doing a Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, came out a couple of years ago. Why now? Well, I've been talking with the audio description community, and I've heard about this thing that is text-to-speech audio description, which is basically the equivalent of if Siri was narrating a movie for you. And yeah, I really wanted to experience that. I wanted to experience it in two forms. One with a movie I had not seen, and one with a movie that I had seen. So I could compare and something from back before I lost my vision and be like, okay, well, I kind of remember what that looked like. What are we doing here with audio description? So today I'm on this exploration from the perspective of I did not see Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. So how did this work out? Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about what happens when robots describe movies. But first, we must talk about the actual movie. So what is the Jay and Silent Bob Reboot for those of you who are like, they made another one? Why? That's kind of actually what they're saying. I mean, that is the plot of Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. They made another one? They play into that. It's very meta. They don't know why there are more people making Blunt Man and Chronic, which is like the series within the movie that resembles the Jay and Silent Bob. I don't know. If you familiarize yourself, this movie would be totally weird if you've never seen a Kevin Smith film. I'm just going to be really honest. If you just jump straight into this and you're like, I think my first taste of Kevin Smith is going to be Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, I don't know that you'll understand what's going on or get any of the jokes. You definitely won't get all the callbacks to all of other Kevin Smith films that are in this, all of the previous cast members that he has in here. You know, obviously Ben Affleck and Matt Damon both show up. Joey Lauren Adams, Shannon Elizabeth. So, I mean, there's a decent amount of people that pop up here. Rosario Dawson. So, who have been in previous Kevin Smith films. I kept waiting for that Bruce Willis cameo. But I know they don't get along. That would have been nice to see him pop up. There is a really nice, warm to my heart cameo at the end. I won't spoil it, but yeah, it got me a little in the feels. I was like, oh no. Not having seen the movie and stuff, and I didn't know who was going to be right at the end and who they were going to dedicate the movie to. And yeah, good job on that, Kevin. That was an amazing little thing that you did there at the end. But it's a road trip movie. Jay and Silent Bob get their names essentially swindled by a major corporation, Saban Films, the dudes that made the Power Rangers movies. Yeah, those guys. And they want to make more Blunt Man and Chronic, but they also have taken the names of Jay and Silent Bob, so they no longer actually own the rights to their names. And so they set across country on a road trip to restore their good name, literally, by attending Chronic Con. This film doesn't need to make sense, okay? It just doesn't. I will say that there's an interesting parallel drawn here where we get, at one point through a thing that I can't spoil, I guess, technically, we do get, like, female versions of Jay and Silent Bob, which reminded me very much of what happened with the Bill and Ted Save the Music, where Bill and Ted's daughters ended up sort of being a little bit like them, and we got that parallel added when we rebooted, well, when we restarted or finished whatever happened to that franchise with Bill and Ted Face the Music, that long dormant franchise, and then we were like, let's make a third one. This is what people have been wanting. I guess that's what they do here. I think this came first, so I think this is the chicken, maybe the other's the egg, I don't know. But in that scenario, it doesn't really matter. But they both did the same thing, which is in itself interesting. But this is a fun film for those of you who like Kevin Smith. For those of you who do not like Kevin Smith, this won't make any sense and will probably be a hellscape nightmare. I like Kevin Smith. I like that he isn't afraid to poke fun at himself. He goes after himself for directing Cop Out, and makes fun of that film, which is usually his most derided project. And then he also brings up Jersey Girl, and which is his other film that did not do well with critics and audiences. So he knows, he's heard you, but he also is the kind of director that I think everybody loves. And when you see the amount of people who have been in previous Kevin Smith films that have come back for this, it's really just heartening to see everybody willing to come back for Kevin Smith's project. He jokes about how, because he had a heart attack, he was able to get everybody to come back for the film. He guilt-tripped everybody. He should get a SAG award for best cast guilt-tripped into a movie or something like that. Some of the jokes are funny, and they're very aware. They're very self-aware. And that's, I guess, the charm of this film. I don't know that I loved it, but I don't know that I loved Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Like, I thought it was okay. Like, it was fun. It's been a long time since I've seen it, so don't quote me. I'd feel really awkward giving that a grade right now, but I feel about the same. I kind of remember being like, yeah, this is okay. This is fine. And that's kind of how I left with Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. I'm like, this is okay. This is fine. I would say Dogma and Red State are probably my top two Kevin Smith films. I know that's weird, but if you want to get an opinion of where I'm at with Kevin Smith as a director, that would be it. So that's about how I feel about it. I mean, there's no real reason to dissect this deeply. It's got some jokes. It's very self-aware. It has some social commentary to throw in there about the times they are changing, and lots of celebrity cameos. So that is Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. Now, to talk about the robot in disguise. This was interesting. So I had heard that Amazon, on most of their films that are, I guess you could say, licensed titles that are not Amazon originals, that they end up using like a text-to-speech thing to create audio description for these projects. So I found something that was not an Amazon original, and I found this, and yes, this is absolutely a robot. It sounds like a robot. The narration is clunky, at best, would be the best way to put that. There are times at which the audio description just totally fails you. This film is interesting because one of the two main characters is nonverbal, so it requires constant audio description for Silent Bob, something that we get sometimes. Sometimes we get audio description about what Silent Bob is doing, not all of the time. there are plenty of times where it's just sort of like a little bit of audio description, and then like the scene just happens, and sometimes we just transition into another scene and we don't even know how we got there. There's no real explanation to where we are, or which characters are in the scene, or who's there, why they're there. There were some things that happened within the context of the film that never got any explanation. They just happened. Specifically, I'll pull the scene where Jay and Silent Bob go into the store in the mall, and they get that great Mallrats joke. But it seems to me, if I had to guess, that there was like a rat or something and he threw something at it. That's my guess. I have no idea because there's no audio description for it. But it had like a sound effect. But there was nothing there to match it. So it could have been anything. Could have been my brain running wild. I don't know if it was an actual rat like they were suggesting, or if it was somebody from the cast of Mallrats that got something thrown at them. Yeah, it would have been nice to have more description. And that sort of is the thing, on top of the fact that it's really weird to hear Siri narrating a film. I'm all about having audio description on every title. I believe it's our right as a community to be able to see any title we want. But at the same time, I think this goes to highlight why you actually hire quality, why you actually need to pay real people to do things, and why robots can't always be the solution for everything. I'm not sure that this is the way to go. And I think a human being had to write this dialogue, and I don't know if they're writing the dialogue specifically just to piss people off so that we hate TTS. There were some weird choices made, like at the end when it breaks down into we have credits, and it tells us, it reads the credits to you, so it'll say like Joey Lauren Adams, Ben Affleck, and it just like goes down the cast. And then after the cast is over, it goes into like an outtake blooper reel, and then the audio description disappears. And it disappears for almost the entire outtake blooper reel, which is, I guess, also they're running the rest of the credits probably on screen along with the outtakes and bloopers. And then suddenly the audio description comes back for like 3 or 4 outtakes. And it's so weird because we just did like 15, 18 outtakes with no audio description. And then the audio description is like, oh, sorry, I was sleeping. Would just Silent Bob stands and waves his arms around. It's like, what? Why did you just describe only a couple? It's... If I graded audio description, this would not get a good grade from me. Is there audio description? Sure. I mean, is robotic audio description better than no audio description? Sure. Okay, like, yeah. All right. But the same can be said of when I don't have audio description, having somebody with me occasionally telling me what's on screen versus just being alone with my thoughts watching a film that has no audio description. I mean, like, this, yeah, okay, so in desperation, something is better than nothing. But when this represents a film, when this starts representing a film and a director and a company and a production company and a studio, and whether or not I like the film or dislike the film, I mean, audio description is not something we talk about a lot, but it can actually make or break a film for the millions of us who are blind or visually impaired. So bad audio description can actually lead to us not liking a film, which can lead to us not buying it for our own home media use, which could lead to us not watching the sequel or other films by that director, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a little bit of a snowball effect just, it can get out of control. So you should want to present every piece of art in cinema in the best light that you possibly can. And this is not that. It is better than nothing. You know, it's like taking the little bit of Spanish that we're required to take in high school. And yeah, I can ask people, ¿Dónde está el baño? You know, I'll be able to find the bathroom. I can't have a meaningful conversation with anybody in Spanish, but I can find out where the bathroom is. You know, that's kind of what this is. This is the human equivalent of that. So congratulations, you've given us something that is just barely useful. It's not good, and it should not be used to represent. And if I was Kevin Smith and I heard this on my film as a director, I would be just sickened by the fact that this was attached to my film and this was representing me. But, you know, then again, he did direct Cop Out, so who knows? But that's just my thought. So, yeah, I don't like this TTS robot voice thing going on here. Film is okay. I'm excited that Kevin Smith is getting back into directing. I hope. I want to see him. I want to see him swing for the fences like he did with Red State. I want to see him do something just totally unexpected. So I hope he does. I hope we get something. His next project from him just being something crazy. So I'm gonna give Jay and Silent Reboot. I don't know what that is. A B-. So those are my thoughts on Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, and the, I guess, audio description, we'll call that right now. That's what it is. So let me know what you think in the comments. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and you can check out backthemovieguy.com for more of my delightful, witty wittisms and snoochies and boochies. I don't know. I'm trying to get a Jay and Silent Bob reference in there somewhere. And check out Audio Description Project for more titles that are audio described, hopefully by humans. But, you know, I don't know. But they're a great resource to have. Anyway, until next time, Blunt Man and Chronic out.